Okay, so we're gonna call the meeting to order. And
members of our community. First, our high school swim team. My son graduated in 2020 and lost his senior year of baseball to COVID. It was devastating, but even then he could still practice. He had a bat, a ball, and a local park. He could stay in shape and be seen by college recruiters. His hard work allowed him to play baseball for 3 years of college. Our swimmers don't have that option. When their season is cut, they lose critical practice time without a local facility. They're forced into long commutes to find water time. There are no backyard lap lanes or alternate practice sites. Every missed hour in the pool matters for those hoping to swim in college. If we limit their access, we limit their future. We must support these athletes with the same seriousness as other sports. Second, I'd like the board to consider bringing back Serene Saturday. This hour of quiet, calm pool time was a lifeline for many in our community. Seniors, individuals with disabilities, and parents and infants with their toddlers as well. Public swim hours are often too crowded, too noisy, and simply not an option for those who need a gentler environment. I have 2 young granddaughters, an infant and a toddler, learning to swim. They need time beyond lessons to build confidence and practice skills in a peaceful setting. I've spoken with the pool manager and one of the board members about finding sponsors to help keep Serene Saturday going, but I wasn't given the opportunity to follow through. I'm confident I could find the support needed, and I even offered to help with flyers and promotion. Many families I've spoken to didn't know the program existed. The pool is more than a recreational space. It's essential to our community. It supports every age and demographic. It teaches, heals, and saves lives. Please consider restoring access and opportunities for our student athletes and those who benefit from peaceful time in the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next one is Nella. Noel.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, how are you?
I thought you knew my name.
Well, I
I only have 3 minutes, so I better go back and sit down and forget it. I'd love to email you my bullet points. The only person that I recognize that's been to swim meets frequently is Tony Jonas, and we know him from swimming, and of course Risa, but I don't recognize any of the others that having been at any swim meets, dual meets, or any of the sessions. I apologize if I don't see them. I haven't been as active since my children grew up. They came up here as swimmers. They couldn't swim in a 35 or a 36-yard pool. It wasn't a legal pool, so Tony took us to, let's see, Fernley, Menden, all over the place that we could swim. One of my swimmers was in PAC, and she had absolutely fantastic queue times and had a big chance, and lost that by moving to this area because Roosevelt couldn't provide that. I would like you seriously to look at the lack of grants. I was on HRLVA after David Meserve died. I filled in for a period of time. Should have been 2 years, turned out to be 4 years. I was just learning about financials, and to find out that this whole board changed every year blew me out of the water, because the budget and financials is hard to understand. I encourage you to look at a 2 or 3 year period for the board, at least, so that you can get some consistency, because that doesn't exist and it can't help the manager or administration. We need to know what grants are out there, and that follow through has to occur. We've been begging for grants for more than 10 years, before Risa was our manager. We have been fighting to have a pool since 2004, when Roosevelt was shut down. I was in many supervisor meetings with my husband and I talking. I'm sorry he could not be here today. He's finishing up on some radiation. But otherwise, these words come from him. And they aren't 3 minutes long. They're probably 4 pages. But most of all is I would like to know what kind of participation anyone has been in that. We need some grants. We need some follow through on what is being accomplished by management and administration to keep this going. We realize that the pool isn't always going to make money. A pool is for everyone in the community to use. It's not just for swim team, but right now, that shoulder season from August to October, and it's CIF qualified. That's so important to children, young people. CIF, that's all your sports. That's California Intercollegiate Sporting and Foundation. That's your football, that's your soccer, that's baseball, that's everything, that's swim. We're approved to do that. Why is there a possibility that we're not going to have that? I just don't understand that, especially if there is an MOU in place from 2024 that was agreed upon for the 2025 season to give them that shoulder season until mid-October when they finish up the swimming for that. I think my time is up, but if you would provide me with your emails, I would be glad to send you a long list of other things that my husband and I are very concerned about. All my girls swam for 13 to 15 years, and Tony can tell you about that. Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
All right.
And I'm Noelle Haller-Riggs.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Shelby, I'm a little confused on what you want to do here.
So I
You-
have.
You've had time to talk. Do you have, papers
Yes.
that,
I have
to hand
community
out to
members
us?
that cannot be here today and they want to have their voices heard and recorded. So I have letters from them that they would like read to the board. And these are also swim team members that are not here because they were in school.
so they're kids?
I have 2 from kids and 1 from an adult.
Okay, I want to hear from the kids.
So I have one from Christian, who is a swim team member. He writes, "To whoever it may concern, although I just started competing this past school year, swimming has always been a part of my life. I have always loved it. Closing the pool early not only takes away the privilege of myself and others to compete, but it strips us of something we have loved for years. Swimming is not only a pastime for me, but it teaches me discipline and hard work. Now, I am not asking for you to keep the pool open year-round. I am simply asking for you to keep the pool open for me and the other swimmers to be able to continue to grow, not just as swimmers, but as people as well. Sincerely, Christian." Swim team member Bella Burton. What the high school swim team means to me. The Lassen High School swim team brings me so much joy and happiness. It has helped me make new friends, stay healthy, and feel connected to my school. Our coach is amazing, and the team is incredibly supportive for everyone. Swimming is not only a great sport, it keeps me active and gets me out of the house. I feel deeply disappointed and angry that the pool is closing and there will no longer be a swim team. I won't be able to swim, race my friends at practice, or visit the places we go for meets. We've done so much to support the pool, and losing the chance to continue our team is heartbreaking. I won't be able to see my teammates practice. I'll be missing a part of a fun, meaningful sport connected to Lassen High School. Swimming is the only sport I truly connected with in high school. And if it ends, I'll lose that important part of my life. Future students who love swimming won't have the chance to be part of an amazing swim team, travel for meets, and make new friends like I did during my first year. We've all worked so hard to build this team, and I've worked so hard to improve my swimming. The swim team has been the best thing that has happened to me. And I will be furious if we lose it. Bella Burton.
Thank you. Okay, so, you have Tammy Martinez's.
I do. Community member Tammy Martinez. Glancing at the pool's financial numbers, it's clearly that the community pool has not been managed, utilized, or benefited to its full potential. From our youth to our seniors, there are only a few activities that people of all ages in our community can truly benefit from. Keeping the pool open allows our community to engage all age groups in mental, spiritual, and physical health. Growth in each of these areas has a positive ripple effect on our community as a whole. The pool is a hidden gem and a potential cash cow if managed correctly. There are many different ways to not only increase revenue, but also lower expenses through proper management. From what I see, a manager who only balances the books and makes schedules does not create progress. A good manager will do those things and promote and engage the pool in the community in a positive manner. A great manager will do all of the above and be open to receiving input, acknowledging where they may fall short, and begin willing to re-educate themselves through various means to improve their management skills. If they are unwilling or unable to do so, they should step aside for someone who can see beyond themselves. Keeping the pool open inspires our youth to reach their fullest potential and allows seniors to thrive through low-impact activities. It provides our whole community with the opportunity that will not only benefit the pool financially, but also benefit our city as a whole. Sincerely, Tammy L. Martinez, LNT. And these were also emailed to you guys individually. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any more public comment? Come to the podium and state your name, and we have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Bob Nielsen. I'm the athletic director at Lassen High School, and I appreciate the time that we've had to work with you in the past to get our swimmers in the pool. Obviously, a pool is too costly for one high school to be able to maintain in this climate, and we appreciate the opportunities we've had in the past. We're requesting that opportunity not just this year, but also in the future. Beyond what we do at Lassen High School, we mentioned the CIF. That's a bigger organization than the NCAA. More schools, more student athletes than the NCAA, all divisions here in California. And this is just one little part of it. It gets kids who might not otherwise be involved in sports, who might not otherwise be involved in clubs. It gets them the opportunity to excel where they do best. And maybe we're only talking about 10 or 15 student athletes that might not do something else, but it's worth it. Also a community member. My mother, 70s, comes to the pool, uses the pool, loves the pool. I take my son there. We have some great bonding moments. He's a freshman this year in high school. You don't get too many of those when we hit those teenage years. Pool can bring families together. A pool can bring communities together. I think the more hours of the day and the more days of the year that we have the pool open, I think the better we are as a community. We need to be a community that's growing and cutting back on services. I know we're in a tough spot at Lassen High School as well with budgets. I understand that piece. There's not much more as a high school that we can offer than the contract that we had negotiated before. There's not much more that we can give, but we can certainly be thought partners and try to work with any opportunities we have to either partner on grants or work together on something to be able to give these student athletes an opportunity. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Oh, yeah.
Hi,
Will you state your name, please, and thank you for getting up and talking. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My name's Peyton Butterwalk.
Okay.
Oh, I'm here to talk about what the swim team means to me. I know that I've made most of my friends on the high school swim team, and it's not only a team for me, it's more of like a family. Pretty much everybody I know in high school who I'm really close with is on this team. It's really nice to be part of something like that. And it was really nice freshman year, not having to do PE my second year. It offers a lot to students who don't like the sports that aren't on the water, I guess. It's a lot of fun, and it's really nice because we have a pool here, and we get to travel a lot, which is great. I know competing is one of my favorite things. I'm very competitive, and it's nice to be able to do it with a bunch of people I know. And it's nice to get out to other local schools because I'm also an FFA, so I can meet them and I can see them get after. It just helps form relationships, and it'd be really great to have it my senior year also. Just finish it out, you know, all 4 years. And that's what the swim team means to me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
My name's Bella Rivas. I'm a senior at Lassen High School, and I've been swimming for the past 3 years. I was kind of shocked when I heard that the swim team was not going to happen next year. And I think the really big thing for me is swim team gave me such a huge opportunity in high school. Going into high school, I wasn't expecting to be athletic or sporty at all. I do struggle with some like physical issues. I do have Graves' disease, which made it really hard for me to like get involved in sports like soccer or track and field and stuff like that. And so I did struggle, but swim really gave me an opportunity because with swim you're essentially weightless, and so it really just made it a lot easier to enjoy working out, whereas the other sports that were available were just, it felt like a chore. And so swimming, especially taking like AP classes, having a rigorous schedule, it really was just that part of my day I could look forward to, and I was really passionate about, and I feel immensely blessed that I got to participate in this the past 3 years, and I really can't imagine like not having those opportunities being available to like incoming students and people who are going to the high school next year. And so this is just something I'm really passionate about, and I don't know if there's a way that you guys can change your mind, but that's just from my perspective, and it's a very great opportunity, and I'm very grateful that I got to experience it, and I wouldn't let other people miss out on that experience.
Thank you very much. Good job. Is there anybody else?
Hi, my name is Keegan Gard. I just wanted to talk about how much the swim team means to me. And I've met a lot of new people that way and made some new friends. And normally I don't really talk to people, but I talk to people on the swim team, so yeah. And if we don't have swim team next year, it'll be really disappointing for me because I was doing so well, and I'm only a freshman right now. And as we keep going on, I can keep getting better, and I get to see other people get better as well. So it just means a lot to me to be with my friends doing something I love and doing a lot.
Thank you. Great job.
Hi, my name is Tessa Gard, and this year I was a freshman on the high school team. And I've been swimming for a while, and when I joined the high school team, it opened up a lot more opportunities for me and a lot more people that I got to meet. And I really like having the chance to go against people who are my own age and get competitive. And I feel like swim team is a really good sport for people to just be able to focus on their own physical abilities. And I feel like that means that it's really open to a lot of different people. And I was getting like varsity times this year, and I was really hoping that I'd be able to keep going and like step up my abilities so that I could do well. And so I would just be really upset if I didn't have that chance, and if others after me didn't have that chance, especially my little siblings who are also looking forward to joining the high school swim team. So I would just really be disappointed if we didn't get to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Tara Gard. I am the Lassen High swim coach. Thank you for letting us speak to you today. I didn't get a chance to make it to the last meeting, and so after the last meeting, when I was getting bombarded with text messages that you had canceled our season, it was disappointing to say the least. Shocked. I had no idea this was even on the agenda. As far as I knew, we had a contract with you guys. We had 1 more year. What good is a contract if you can cancel it at any point? I'm sorry. if you can cancel it within 30 days. It didn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair. The community has spoken to you guys. I can't understand a board that is going to place money. That's what you're doing. It's a community pool, and it was stated that if we could come up with the money that we could continue the season. It's not up to the high school to continue to pay for the shoulder season. That's not our job. You have a pool manager who, that's her job to do it. I'm not upset with Risa. I think Risa's doing a fabulous job. I'm upset with the system. I'm upset that we got to this point. A community pool is for the community. It doesn't make money off of the programs that it runs. That's what grants are for. If you look at any community pool, it's not making money. It's for the community. It's for our children. It's for the college. You guys have revenue coming in that shoulder season. Why do we not want some revenue? You still have bills to pay. You're still going to have those fixed costs. Why not have some revenue coming in versus zero revenue and still paying your fixed costs? All I can say is I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that this happened. I'm disappointed for our community. I'm disappointed for my team. They've spoken to you. Here these kids got out of school at 3 o'clock and rushed over here so that they can tell you how they feel about this. They want this. I want this. Our athletic director wants this. Everyone in this community is for this. I'm asking you to please reconsider. Thank you.
Thanks.
My name is Ellie Alley, and when I first moved to Susanville, it was a very hard time for me because I didn't know very many people. And having swim was an amazing thing for me because it was so hard to make friends, and especially coming to high school. It was so amazing to have so many people who I knew were always there for me, and that would always be so kind and so open and so accepting of me. And so it's just really hard to know that, we won't have that anymore. And coming off of high school, it'll be just very hard because it's very hard being a teenager and not having someone to lean on, and having so many more people to lean on is such an amazing experience. So I really hope you'll reconsider your decision.
Is there anybody else?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Bailey. I'm here mostly on behalf of my son, Tucker Bailey. He is a senior in high school, so he will be graduating. He has an offer to go swim for Shasta College this next fall. So opportunities are there. My son has swum for 3 years for the high school. Each year he has qualified for masters and has made it into the top 8, which is a big deal for here, for how much time he gets to swim. He competes against year-round swimmers in big schools. And I believe we had 15 swimmers this last year. 10 of them made it to masters. Wow. That is an amazing achievement. And like some of these freshmen here made varsity time. So it's not just about feelings, it's not just about community, these are talented kids. And for the amount of time they actually get to swim, they have a talent. And so I am asking that you reconsider, because like my son, if he was here, this is his love. He loves to be in the water. A lot of them don't do well with the traditional sports of football or basketball, but when they swim, this is their gift. And we have a beautiful pool. We have an amazing pool, and it's run beautifully. Nobody's attacking Lisa. I would agree that she has done a beautiful job running that pool. But we need to look at, it is a community pool. How can we make it better? How can we financially make this work? And I think that we can do that. So I ask you to reconsider so that these kids growing up and the ones that are going to be coming into high school have a chance to have that same opportunity my son does. Thank you.
Thanks. there anybody else? Oh, okay.
I'm Melanie Fort. I'm gonna have to leave in a few minutes, so I wanted to take this opportunity to just say, I hope you consider all these things. One of the things that I took away from the last meeting is that we didn't have any data about exactly how many swimmers and how many activities and how much money needs to be coming in on a regular basis. Like they couldn't give us a concrete number, maybe how much we could fundraise with the high school team to keep the shoulder season going. So I hope that throughout the last month, maybe that's been gone over a little bit more. Yeah, and I think all of us in our community want things here for our kids and for our neighbors to enjoy and to be together and to be part of our community. So I don't think the main focus of the pool is how much money it's making for our town. That's probably never going to happen. But I think something that can be measured is the difference that it makes in our community for kids learning how to swim, for the high school team, for people making connections. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at this time?
Alright, sorry I'm late for the party, but it was important enough for me, it was important enough for me to show up straight from Sacramento. That's how passionate I am about this, keeping this open. There are a lot of, I could sit here all day, I know time is limited. Reasons, not only for our youth of our community, Shelby's already read my letter, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it on time. Not just our youth of our community, to watch them excel and grow. We constantly talk about our youth doesn't get enough community time with their peers, where they have too much screen time, etc. Programs over the years have constantly been cut, and this is a program that I can get behind, not just because it affects the youth of the community, the growth of the community, but also our seniors, my age and older, because the pool being available is an excellent low impact workout for them, as well as a social activity, because our senior community needs to thrive as well. With that being said, some of the financials that I did look at, if you compare them, if you actually pull up some of the community centers in the Sacramento region, what some of the stuff that they're spending isn't as much as what we're spending now. So some of those expenses could be looked at. There could be other things that could be possibly made available, such as the pool possibly going solar to save a little income, to create new revenue, get out there and get with our hotels. We're trying to incorporate, we have all this people coming up here going fishing, boating, you name it. We've got this truck stop thing coming in, promoting and finding out what those people would initially want to utilize, or how they could utilize the pool. Because there's some hotels that are trying to revamp themselves that don't have swimming pools, that they could offer it up at certain times when the pool's not used for swim team or the water aerobics. Me, I specialize in sports and medical massage. One of the things I use my pool for is a therapeutic treatment called Watsu. And it's basically a acupressure massage in the swimming pool. You know, we could do polar plunge parties. You know, so there are people, I mean, I love getting in the pool in the cold. So there's a lot of other avenues that I feel could be expanded on. So I don't know if that was my time or.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else? All right. Then we'll close public comment at this time. And we'll move on to 7A.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to consider approval of the city reimbursement request from March 29th, 2025 through May 9th, 2025. The HLVRA has contracted with the city of Susanville to perform administrative, management, and operational services. The city has submitted a request for $9,597.75 in operational staffing costs and $2,446.20 in administrative staff services related to the school, totaling a reimbursement of $12,043.95 for the period of March 29th, 2025 through May 9th, 2025. Fiscal impact is $9,597.75 in operational staffing and $2,446.20 in administrative costs. We're asking for a motion to approve the city reimbursement request.
I'll make a motion to approve the city reimbursement request for $12,043.95.
Okay. Motion made by Board Member Scanlon. How about a second? Okay. Board Member Brown seconded. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this? Okay, we're going to move on to 7B. And that is the pool finances through May 9th, 2025.
Yeah, and I'll actually be presenting this one, President Neely. I know it originally had Bob Godman's, the executive officer's name on it. I had added a new sheet in it that I just wanted to reference for the board at large.
Sheet is this.
Well, this is just a larger version of what was already in the board packet.
Okay.
So that's kind of like our standard sheet that comes through that has the regulars. The new sheet was I have a cost analysis sheet that I added in with our regular financial sheet. And this just goes over the expenses and goes over the increased amount of what those amounts are from when we opened in like the 2018 season to live action update through the 2025. The numbers that are highlighted in yellow are ones that we don't have the hard costs on. They, page 13. You guys have it? Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I got a fancy version, I guess.
So since we don't have the yellow copy, will you please go?
I will. Yeah, so this is a spreadsheet I've been keeping myself to help track the finances, and I thought it was important for other people to see what I see. So this is a just tracks what we do at the end of like the 2025 going in, where we're projected to end. For maintenance is one of the highlighted yellow ones. If it's in blue, which would be the next one now, and then it just means it's a hard number. So in like the 25, in the 2018 year, maintenance costs, which is chemical costs to the pool, was $25,400. Where we're projected to be at based off of our current, like the current to date off of the financials, plus what we have still coming out in the next 2 months. You can see 37,290 is where we're projected to end. We'll have that number narrowed down by June, by the end of June, but that's an increase of $11,890 to the chemicals, which is a 46% overall increase from the 2018 year to where we are now. So this is just kind of a spreadsheet where I'm trying to track some of those costs, if you would. So you can go down, if it's a line item on here, then it has been an increased cost, something that's gone up due to inflation, just to increase prices across the board. So you can kind of just see our overall increase is the second line from the bottom, which is a 62.52% currently overall increase for all of these kind of what I would consider hard costs of the pool. So you have maintenance, you have your garbage, we have Mud, which you can see is a significant cost. A lot of that's associated with the geo pumps. It's associated with the pumps that we have at the pool, just the electricity, keeping the lights on and the filters running and the heated, if you would. This is an updated sewer cost, so we all got, if you live in the city limits, the notification that the sewer is expected to increase, and it will be increasing. So although the dollar amount isn't a high dollar amount, that's just an expected increase for this coming up year. That was a hard number that I got from Susanville Sanitary District. They were able to give me what my hard cost going into the next fiscal year would be. So that's an accurate number. That's why that one's not highlighted in yellow. Our geo has been a pretty high cost. So in 2018, the electricity, a lot of the geo cost is also tied to the electricity. You can see it was $9,849. We're currently paying out over $13,814, which was an overall increase. You can see the percentages. The insurance is one that I just really want to highlight and bring to your guys' attention. When we were open in 2018, the insurance was only $8,140. We are now paying almost $26,000 for our insurance, an overall increase of $17,706. That's over a 217% increase that we cannot control with what insurance is doing in the state of California and other states. I am anticipating, having talked to several insurance adjusters, that that price will probably be over $30,000 for the next fiscal year. We don't get our bill until June. So that one will be up. This is, it will be much higher for the 25-26 fiscal year. It's been on a trend every year where it's increased at least $5,000. Pool staffing, this includes myself as included in the pool staffing. There's been, as you can see, roughly $61,000 in increased pool staffing. This isn't just for the pool director position. This is for pool staff across the board. I think minimum wage when we were first open was under $11 an hour. We had a staff that was making $10.50, I think, in season 1. Now all of our staff is making over $16 an hour just with the increased to minimum wage. So this is just kind of a cost analysis sheet I'm trying to keep live updated so that we can see what the actual hard costs are to the facility and where we're kind of, those numbers are increasing. So this I'll dial down as we get closer to the end of fiscal year in June. And we can see what like our insurances and these other like costs that are coming down the pipeline to us that the pools currently experience. So this is just a sheet that I wanted to add in with our regular expenditure and revenue sheets that we get each time, just so that it kind of highlights where some of that money is going to, that 60%. And then that bottom line, the door revenues, I did want to point out the pool is being super well supported, as you've heard, by the community, right? It's being well supported by the businesses. We have lots of sponsors and amazing things going on there. We're open 12 plus hours a day during the summertime. And we've managed to increase the revenues, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what you see our expenses going out are. You know, we increased it $29,000, and most of that went to increased insurance cost. So it's just something that I'm trying to make the financials more in the forefront so the board has a clear understanding of some of these increased costs that the pool's incurring from year to year.
Okay, so if I'm reading this right, our expenses went up 62.52%, and our revenue only went up 25.95%. So
that's accurate.
We are 40% in the hole.
Yeah, not doing the quick math in my head.
Compared to our revenues and our expenses.
70,000.
Well, I didn't add everything up, but that's fine. 36%, okay? But still, the pool isn't making, and that's, you know, basically why this board had to make some adjustments until, you know, either the county and the city contribute more money, or, you know, I mean, they can't keep losing that amount of money and stay in business. There's nobody out there that can do that. All right, well, thank you, Lisa.
I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
On your LMUD expense and then your GEO expense.
Yes.
Is the LMUD one, is that for just the power at the pool and things going on there itself?
Yes, so the LMUD covers the electricity at the pool itself, and the GEO covers the electric at the well. So in roughly about the year 2018, when the pool first opened, the very first year of operation, we were paying the city a flat rate of $1,500. At that point in time, pumping costs for the well. And so when it shows GEO, that's just the pumping costs for the GEO well to get the hot water up to the pool. And so that, unfortunately, with the increased LMUD costs, have drastically affected us.
I thought that was the case, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Is there,
I have one question.
yes,
Big sheet, Risa.
Yes.
Below fund balance, we have donations and sponsorships. You're showing a goal target of $8,000 on the budget.
Yes.
And you're showing actuals of 0.
Yes.
This past week, I asked Risa about all of our sponsor banners, organizations and stuff that donated to the pool for different reasons and different programs. And I have heard from out here that we need to seek more fundraising from our community and other places. We had 12 major sponsors last season. Most of it was swimming lessons, Team Tuesdays, but it translates into dollars for use. Again, just like a person coming through the door buying a swimming lesson, it's not extra revenue. So is that $8,000 accurate? Did we hit that goal or go beyond it? Or?
Yeah, last year we did hit the $8,000 goal for our sponsorships. Most of it landed in last fiscal. That's why you're not necessarily seeing it on this spreadsheet. We have already acquired 7 sponsors within this season for various things. A couple for Team Tuesday, for some other just activities at the pool. I'm noticing a general trend while I'm trying to get the sponsorships is that we had less sponsorships this year and less people willing to donate the higher tier sponsorships. Just offhand, it just seems like people have a little bit less to give this year. We do rely and lean on the community, and they've always been an amazing support system for the pool. But that's just a trend I'm noticing. I was talking to Jenny Hoffman the other day with CASA. CASA has always been one of our donations for swim lessons and support, and she was going to start hopefully talking to some other departments that she has access to that we wouldn't necessarily know about as private community members, and see if we can maybe get some more sponsorships going towards swim lessons and to the Team Tuesdays and the things that really impact and benefit the community and the kids the most.
One more question. I know 2 years ago when the contract was formed with the high school, we had a large contingent of different school districts. Office of Ed was here also in the conversation. There was a $5,000 number thrown around from each one of them. I know, again, from going through these sheets of donors and sponsorships, we had but one school, not the Office of Ed, contribute that kind of money. It was on a special program, ELOP funds. And again, it turns out those funds were again directed to services and dollars collected. We performed special swimming lessons, again, extending those programs specifically for Johnsonville School to acquire the $5,000. Again, not free money. We actually dropped the rate of the high school. I think we were having the high school pay $6,500 for a season.
Roughly, yes.
Yeah, right in that, and we dropped it to $5,500 on the argument some of these other schools would be donating to that kind of program to help facilitate the cost. Am I accurate?
Correct.
And so those two amounts of money, or if we get those, I mean, that doesn't.
They're no longer available. Those funds were one-time money.
One-time money.
Mhm.
So we aren't getting those funds. So, okay, well.
And we didn't, and we did not get those funds. Yeah.
So, you need to come up and you'll have 3 minutes.
Regarding the insurance, what exactly is the insurance covering?
It's the general liability insurance of the pool that you have to have in order to operate.
Okay, I understand general liability. Are they giving you restrictions, let's say age restrictions, for example?
I would have to review the policy. I don't believe there's any age restrictions attached to that, no.
No, because some of my thoughts were, unless they're, the high cost is due to, let's say, they don't want, let's say, younger children around the pool because of higher rate of accidents or something.
No, nothing
so
like that.
I didn't know if you, because I noticed most of the classes were 13 was like the cutoff age, if I remember what I was reading correctly.
It's 18.
Okay. Because I didn't know if you've looked at like infant swimming classes and stuff like that, or programs, through the hospital with mothers or anything like that.
We do offer infant water baby swim classes at the pool. It is one of our most popular programs that typically sells out. I believe the insurance costs, just for general reference, has more to do with the wildfires that California has incurred and just everyone's insurance costs going up. It seems like each year there's another major catastrophe, and each year we've seen the 5,000. It seems to be rolling out in $5,000 increments.
Well, trust me, all the insurances across the board, auto and everything. But I was just curious on whether they had limitations or increased amounts for younger versus older generation.
No, nothing like that.
Okay, thank you.
Lisa, are we still within the co-op we've been in all along?
Yes.
So it's a recreational co-op?
Correct.
Pretty much all of California?
It it covers counties all throughout California, yes, if that's the
So
question.
it's a co-op that we actually belong to.
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody else from the public that would like to comment?
I'm just looking over your big sheet here. And on your revenue, it still shows like LCC and it shows the high school. I think I missed where you said the blue was a fixed. What does the blue mean?
So on the big sheet, this is the 24-25 budget. So it begins in July of 24. It covers a fiscal year budget, so not an annual year budget like January to December. So the fiscal year budget starts in July, and then it covers through June of 25.
Okay.
If that helps at all. So there would still be the $5,500 that we received for the LHS swim team was for last season.
So on your cost analysis, when you put 2025, are you doing that for until July of this year? Is that
So yes, it will be ending in
June 30th, right?
yes, correct.
Okay, and so we don't have a projected budget for next year's then?
It's actually the next agenda item, I do believe.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
I did want to mention that there is grants out there from the USA Swim Team that the pool can put in for. You do not need to be a nonprofit, and it does offer swim lessons for children and for adults. So that could be another avenue to complete instead of relying on our businesses and our community to come up with that money. I believe each one you can get up to $15,000. So that is something that I believe the window closes, I believe in December, but I did send each and every one of you the information for that. So that might be something that you could look into.
I actually took time to look at it.
Okay, is there anybody else from the public? Okay, I will bring it back up here. Is there any more discussion on the budget? Okay, so, we just are going to, a motion to receive and file the report.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion made by Tony and second by Mike. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, we're going to move on to 7C. That is the 25-26 proposed budget discussion. And Lisa.
Yeah, so presented for the board's review is a proposed budget for the upcoming 2025-2026 pool season. The budget has been updated to reflect a condensed pool season ended August 31st. There has been an overall reduction in both revenues and expenses as outlined on the attached budget. So the fiscal impact is $71,300 reduction to revenues and a $72,934 reduction to expenditures. So I thought it was really important going into this next fiscal year to make sure that every number on the budget reflected as accurately as possible to a real dollar amount. So that's why some of the revenues have such a large increase or decrease in what was actually, it's a reflection of what we actually take in at the pool. There's no inflated costs in this budget whatsoever. So it's a little bit tiny, and I do apologize for that. So you have your budget, and within the little Excel boxes is what is being proposed. Is my time up? That's it, I'm done. And then what I wanted to do to make it really easy to understand was right next to the boxes, and I'm sorry this isn't larger, I put what it was either reduced or increased by to reflect a real number. So on our revenues, which is the very top section, our daily passes, we received really close to $30,000 last year. So we reduced those revenues to reflect what our walk-in through the door amount actually looked like. So we reduced those by $6,700. The Lassen Aquatic Swim Team, it's a hard number, that's an agreement number, so that's still looking to stay the same. Our summer passes, what we actually received was closer to $10,300. So we reduced what was in last year's budget by $9,000 to reflect a real number. We actually, our swim lesson amounts, we actually increased by $10,000. We've worked really, really, really hard at the facility to add in things that the community has requested for in the past, like evening lessons and additional water baby swim classes. And so we've more than doubled those. Our swim lesson revenue is actually increasing by roughly $10,000, which is more of an accurate reflection. Our daily programming, the daily programming is for exercise classes specific. So those are if someone's just dropping in to attend a lap swim class or dropping in to attend a water aerobics or a shallow water exercise class. So those were reduced by $2,400. Our pool rental revenue went up slightly to $1,900 to reflect $8,200. Concession revenue increased $4,900, and this is, I did write a little notation there, contingent on Snack Shack getting up and going. So we're hoping that if the Snack Shack gets up and going, then we can bring in more revenue on the food side of life, and that will help kind of balance some things out a little bit. School rentals, we reduced quite a bit to reflect more or less what's going on, what actually is occurring. So that is $1,600 worth of school rentals and a total reduction of $10,400. The LHS swim team is not reflected in this budget for the last board meeting, and that was due to the shortened season ending in August. Punch cards, we reduced slightly, so it's now $2,100 or $8,100, I'm sorry, and reflecting a reduction of $2,900. Programming monthly actually had a slight increase to it, so $14,800 is what we bring into our monthly programming for exercise, and that's increased by $2,300. Our LCC adapted PE class, you'll notice a slight reduction of $1,200, also reflecting the earlier end date. Donations and contributions, sponsorship banners, we reduced down to $5,700. I think we might get a little bit more than that, but this was just the initial, what we were anticipating. So the overall reduction of revenue is $71,300 to reflect a total revenue of $297,400. $297,000. Okay, you guys get the point. So those are what we were able to accomplish in the revenue line. I think that's really, really, really close, about as close to an accurate number as you can get for what we're going to be bringing in through the doors and with the cities and the county's contributions. Then we go down to the expense line. We decreased, just based off of what we have been doing in the past, the professional services line by $5,000. Now I just do want to point out that this also includes our auditors, our attorneys, the Capri fees, so anything that's considered a professional or specialized service comes out of this line. So took a gamble and reduced it just to make everything work as well as we could. Our janitorial supplies, we were able to kind of look at what we have been doing and with the shortened season, what we would be doing, decreased by $1,000. The maintenance reduced by $5,000. The office supplies decreased by a considerable amount of money, $1,500. And the concession item costs, we've also had to increase based off of being able to finish the snack shack and other items. Electric, you can see it's a little bit weird. We decreased by $3,500, but that's like a little bit, that's because of the shortened season. So although I hear a lot of discussion that the hard numbers are the hard numbers are the hard numbers, when I look at what we do in the off season and I compare LMUD off season to LMUD on season, we do have a significant decrease in what it costs to operate. So we were able to save roughly, by shortening the season, $3,500 out of our electric budget. And that's because we tuned down the pumps, because we don't run any electricity at the facility when there's no one there. So there's a couple things that we actually do to decrease that number at the facility. So because of the shortened season, we could decrease what we were anticipating spending out of the LMUD budget. We increased our sewer based off of my conversation with the sanitary district. Our trash services, we decreased by $500. That's the savings for the September and October not being open. Our geothermal is a big one. We're able to decrease that. Right now it shows by $3,500. It was actually, I'm hoping, if we're not online and we're not using the geothermal for September and October, it is closer to $5,000 deduction is what we're planning, an actual savings of $5,000. It only decreased by $3,500 in the budget is because we had to put, it looks like we're deficit spending right now. So it was like, compared to what it was last year to this year, it's only showing a $3,500 deduction, but it's actually $2,500 per month if we're able to not utilize that pump at all and get offline with it. So that is a potential savings there. So staffing, pool employees decreased by $58,000. I really just wanted to point out that the number that we have for staffing is $157,000, and you can look to the right. I just wanted to be open and honest so you can see what is being proposed for the pool director, the assistant manager, and all of the pool staff. So you can see what the pool director for the shortened season would be making. That includes me being at the pool roughly from May through September, the first week of September. So that's a slightly shortened season. The city has been working with us to figure out where they can help with the costs and what my position will be like, but it won't be attached to the pool in the off season. I just wanted to make that really clear that when the pool is not open, my salary is not being attached to the pool finances in the off season. Provisions for contingency, I had thrown the $5,000 in there, and you can see it's the anticipated insurance increase. So when this hard proposal comes back, our hard budget comes back for adoption, and if we have the updated insurance, then I will have that number in with the actual real insurance amount, but right now it's just sitting in contingencies. So our overall expense reduction was $72,934. I do want to point out that that leaves us with $1,900 in the bank at the end of the season, and we are not funding the 534 or the 535 funds to get to this point. So just for history, those are funds, they're the sustainability funds and they're the pool improvement funds that in the past the board said we should be setting aside money in case something major breaks at the pool, in case we have to repave the parking lot, replaster the pool for actual hard cost repairs of larger projects, and also for possible grant matching funds. And so in order to still come up with this budget and balance it, Those are not being currently funded to date.
Right.
So,
$1,919 for some sort of emergency.
yes. We do still have some money in the 534 and 535 coffers. That could cover us in an emergency for maybe a year or two. But you know, you could essentially take the pool director position out of this 110%. You could take my salary out of this, you could fund the 534 and the 535 account, and in 1 year, we're still looking at being in the same position. So this isn't a salary problem, it's we have had and incurred a ton of increase in costs, and we're not getting in any additional money from any other resources except for what we can do through the door.
Yeah, we've increased our expenses by 62%. And revenues at only 25. It don't add up.
So this is just our draft version. We will be presenting the final one at the June board meeting for adoption, and hopefully some of those final hard numbers we will have available for the board. So we will have, like, I'm hoping the June insurance bill, so we can really see what that number is like and what it's looking like going into next fiscal. That's kind of the big one on my plate that I want to see. But I do, you know, commend city staff. I know Executive Officer Godman. I know the city administrator. I know the engineering department. Everyone's been really looking at how we can reduce costs as far as staffing and stuff to the pool, and with my position, and really trying to limit that hit as much as we can. And so I just think they've been doing a lot of legwork, and I just commend everyone, because I do feel like there's a lot of amazing support, and we are actively working to do what we can.
Thank you. Anybody up there?
Just for clarification, back up to the Lassen High School swim team, you're showing 0 because it's projected for the 25-26 year. It's not. It's on our paper here, it says 20, approved 24-25.
Oh, that was probably because, right, yeah, this was just the draft, so that's a typo on my end. I do apologize.
That's my clarification. And I'm gonna come back down to the deal pool again.
Yes.
I need my memory refreshed.
Okay.
When typically has the pool quit paying the full amount of geo and started paying partial? Because the winter comes early.
November.
November, all the way through November?
Yes. So we pay the hard costs for pumping from June through November, which is the hard mud cost.
All the way through the end of November?
Yes.
I think we need to look at.
So, until November 1, sorry, all the way through October. So pretty much through the pool, the true quote-unquote pool season. And so when I was looking at where we can reduce, there is a reduction in those hard expenses by closing a little bit early. I think it was over $11,000 worth of hard expenses by reducing our usage into the fall season, if you would. And then another $11,000 worth of staffing so I had figured roughly $22,000 worth of reduced expenses just by going to shortened season. And so one of those things, when I was really, really looking hard at the budget and trying to snip every dollar and make it as accurate as possible to present to the board, to present to the public, and just be as much of an open book as we can, one of the things that I had looked at knowing the history was the geothermal expenses. Most people utilizing the geothermal were not using it. They had no access to it during the summer months at all. So the rest of the public and the rest of the community only gained access to utilize the geothermal when the pool comes on and is using it in those typical non-use months. And so when we negotiate it and we're paying for the pumping costs, that does allow other people to utilize it during those months. And knowing kind of the history of the agreement, I said, hey, if it was in a spot where we had a hard shut off before and the pool's no longer needing it and the pool's no longer using it, I'd like to look at this agreement. And Public Works Director / Executive Officer Bob Godman agreed with me. So those were one of the things that we're really looking at. That alone, not having to pay that, is over $2,500 a month for those 2 months.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's not gonna get shut off. It's still gonna be running. At some point in time, in September, October, depending on weather, people are gonna start utilizing it. So I think we need in the future move forward looking at a shared cost there or ending the pool's agreement like at the end of August. That would be my suggestion, but I think we need to have a note in somewhere.
And we do,
Discussion on that.
right, we do incur a small cost in our, when most people are using the geothermal, it's to heat houses. So they're using it in the winter months. So that's why people only had access to it prior to the pool coming around in the winter months. In the winter months, we pay a very reduced cost. So our cost for geothermal, I think, is $379 a month for the winter months. And then we have the higher cost, and we pay for it in the summer when no one else really is wanting to utilize it to heat their houses. But then we have those September, October months where it's, like you said, it could be a mixed use. We've had some cold days, and I'm sure they've appreciated it being on when it's been available, but that's one of the costs I really wanted to look at reducing if we were not operating in September and October. I do not feel that we should be paying the full pumping costs.
For sure. I agree. Thank you. That was all I had.
Anybody else?
Yeah. So this reduction in revenue number,
Yes.
how did you get that number?
So if you, I didn't provide it for us because it was just a budget discussion for this item, but if you looked at what our revenue was based off of last year's budget compared to this year's budget, and essentially I took it, I know how much money we bring in every month, and I know where it goes for every program, and I essentially added up, and this is the real numbers that are being presented to the board.
Okay.
So that's really close to where I would be expecting at the end of this fiscal year to be hitting for our actual revenue. So you can see on the 24-25 report, it's $211,000, and what we're expected to bring in for swim lessons and those items that we're pre-selling and for Public Swim. I mean, the month of June, we switch over to our, after the first week, starting June 9th, we switch over to the hectic schedule. And all of June is encompassed in like this budget. So it's where we're anticipated to end with the 24-25 budget. And I think I used some predictive numbers based off of like the 23-24 budget to get those last 2 months, you know, looking at what we brought in traditionally for May and June on there. But I try to get it dialed in as much as we can. So I would anticipate ending this year's actuals really close to the $300,000 mark or the $297,400.
That's based on the review schedule.
Yeah. Yes.
One question. Where are we with our request to both the city and county? That was presented to the city on December 4th of last year. Is there any movement on either of those or any conversation?
No, not that I'm aware of.
That one's going to be Bob.
Okay.
Accessibility shortcuts.
Thank you, Board Member Jonas. The city
Use the chat
manager had
feature.
asked me to hold off on that until he had a good look at the budget for this next coming fiscal year to see how much money was available before we brought that back to the council. And we were going to bring it to council before we went to county with it. I think it will be coming up soon. That's where we're at.
It's almost 6 months.
Well, it's gonna be on tomorrow's agenda, so there might be some more,
I mean, that
more pressing.
those decisions could impact all of what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Katie? Mike, do you have anything?
Regarding the last issue, the last thing I heard was that the city probably wasn't going to take in extra money, and it's not looking good for the county either, so I wouldn't count on that.
Well, I'm not counting on anything. I just want to know when it's going to go before the council and the board for that vote. Yeah. Is it going to be agendized at some point?
Is that it? Okay, the one comment that I got is this here I feel will speak volumes to the Board of Supervisors and to the City Council of what, what's going on. I mean, they can see the picture, they can see that, the revenues went up 62%, or not our revenues, our expenses went up 62%. Revenues only went up 25. I mean, this is gonna give them, whether they want to support the pool, and the public needs to come to those meetings and voice their opinion on that. But I think that you guys have worked and worked and worked, and I think this document here, in my personal opinion, is what the board and the city council needed to see. And it will be up to them and public to, they know that in 2028, the county and the city funding stops. It's all over unless the city and the county enter a new agreement. And that's ever since I've been on the board, I've been preaching that the whole time, that 2028, that's when the agreement is ending. And so, whether the board or the city council want to continue to fund it, even if we're in this deficit, spending and not having it, there's only so much money out there. So I would just encourage you to, I think you have the document, and it's up to the board and the city council whether they want to continue with the pool and the pool agreement, because in 2028, the agreement is either we extend it or go on, or we don't. And so and they're only contributing the $80,000 each. And so, and it's not, there's, each of us have 5 board members, and whether they want to support to support the effort, so.
With that revised amendment, it contains an extension on that 2028 agreement too, doesn't it?
What extension?
Yes, it
Is it
extends
5
it out
years?
to 2032.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, if we contribute more, if they choose to contribute more money.
So-
Because that hasn't came before us, that we're going to extend that,
The
to my
amendment,
knowledge.
the amendment that the board approved to send to the city and county, had an increase to the contribution of $40,000 each, so $120,000 each. And also extended the time for the HLBRA agreement out to 2032.
Correct, but that, neither one has voted to do that.
No, yeah, you're correct on that. We haven't brought that to either.
Nobody's did it. So right now, as we set today, 2028, it's done.
You are correct.
Agreed, it says it.
Unless the other two boards agree, so.
So what are we looking for?
Okay, so, this was information only?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
guys'
input.
hard
We
work.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'll do that.
Okay.
Are you done on the public comment on that?
Yeah, you get the
I didn't have public comment on that already?
No, you
No,
didn't.
not on this, yeah.
All right, let's have public comment.
Shelby Burton, community member. So I do have a question to the board then. When are we going to stop relying on the community and county, and when are we going to start finding funding that can support the pool? Have you guys come up with a decision or any other thing out there? We keep going around and around saying the city and community need to support this pool, and we have. So I want to know from the board, what have you guys done, and administration, what has been done outside of the city, county, and the community providing funds for this pool? What has been done to utilize and sustain us for the future?
Juanita Williams, community member. Risa, thank you so much for putting this together, because I was at the meeting 2 times ago and the numbers were not, they were old and new, and so this is wonderful. So thank you very much, Risa, for doing all that work. So I just wanted to clarify real quick, looking at these fiscal impact numbers, the impact between expenditures and revenues, it's $1,634. Is that correct, from what you anticipate bringing in and putting out? I just wanted to clarify that, because it doesn't seem like a whole lot of money when you're expecting to lose quite a bit of revenue. On this first page, your cover page here. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly.
There's not a lot of revenue expected to be lost. We did account for all lost revenue in the revenue budget from the LHS swim team and from the LCC adaptive PE class, and from all of the revenue that was contributed into September and October for all of our exercise classes has been taken out of the revenue from this sheet directly.
So for the 2 months that it's going to be closed, you expect to lose the $71,300 in revenue?
You'd have to be familiar with the budget that we had adopted last year, which unfortunately I didn't present, so you didn't have a side-by-side comparison. There did seem to be inflated numbers that I think weren't being accurately represented on the previous budget. And so those are represented by the reductions that you see on the right-hand side. Those are the things that were reduced. So this budget, I just tried to base off of all 100% actual numbers, cash dollars coming through the door.
Okay, I was just trying to understand, because those numbers are really close together, the reduction in revenue and the reduction in expenditures. So, okay, thank you.
Noelle Heller Riggs, previous swim team mom. I'd like to ask Risa personally how you're communicating with some of the other pools on the cost of the insurance. and what they are having to face. And trust me, as a realtor, I know insurance is going up. It's gonna go up and impact all of us with the new fees. So how do you communicate with a Weaverville, an Oroville, a Quincy, to find out what they have in their pool insurance cost? Since that is one of the biggest increases, at what, 216% on that, page 13? That's my question of you. How do you communicate with others?
No, I wasn't sure if I wanted.
I've reached out to a lot of those pools on other things, asking about swim team and different items. The insurance specifically, I haven't reached out to. It really depends on how the pool is, how it's being ran. So you have to, we're a JPA, so we have to have our own insurance. If the pool is under like the city, then it could be that they're accepted within the city liability. So you'd have to look at how the pool itself is formed and being ran and operated, probably to dive into a little bit of the insurance questions. A lot of public pools are city municipalities, or they're part of like recreation districts, or there's other districts being ran. I have a list of counties and other pools that contribute, but yeah, across the board, they're paying a lot of money. Yeah.
In percentages is what I was looking at, not the dollars and cents and the increase. And I was wondering how it impacted others. Does being a part of the JPA make it worse for us?
Specific to insurance, possibly, but that's something I would just have to do more research on. I don't feel like I have enough of the background information on what the city pays or the county pays, or I'd have to get into a lot more legwork on that to provide accurate information, so I wouldn't want to misspeak on anything here.
I would also like to ask about the grants. Are you now a grant writer?
I can address the grants probably in the last option, so in the pool update information item was the plan to address grants. So I won't discuss that with the budget.
Okay,
Okay.
we're not going back and forth.
Okay, the
It's,
question was about
it's
insurance
a
mostly.
matter of you presenting us, you can talk to us and on your concerns, and then staff will take that into
Okay,
consideration.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, first of all, for all that very good detailed information. As you can see, we've got quite a few folks here that are very concerned about the pool being open in the shoulder season. So, and I know that you can't answer, but I would think that we could get a group of folks to both the city council and to the board of supervisors to share their same input that they shared tonight, as long as we knew that if they were to approve that additional $80,000, because they're already paying for over half the budget, they approve that extra $80,000 between the two of them, that we would go back to expanding the amount of service that we have at the pool. And so I know that you can't answer that, but that's my request, is that if we could have that. I know you can't give me the assurance, but we'd love the assurance that that's where this would go, is to extend the services here. And I'm pretty sure we got a fair number of people at the two different board meetings when it came up on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on C. Gonna move to 7B.
All right. So at the last board meeting, I believe in pool updates, I had presented that we needed to finish the concrete going into the snack shack, that we had done a lot of legwork on it. It's been a project that was proposed to be worked on since 2020. In 2020, during COVID, we had some additional funds due to the pool not being in operation as many. We were only open about 6 weeks. That's what we could staff, and that's what we were able to do. So we had money to put towards some projects at the pool, and some of those projects was a chlorination system, extending the sod, adding in outdoor showers, getting together a snack shack for possible increased revenue opportunities. Unfortunately, we made it through part of our list, or fortunately. We've done a lot with the funds that we have. We have input the outdoor showers, we have extended the snack shack, we have updated some of the mechanical systems within the pool. The last thing we have to do is finish the snack shack. And within this budget model, I wasn't sure if we had the ability to do it with the funds that are currently sitting in the budget. And when I had talked to the executive officer and said, hey, we need this like $5,000 to do concrete, we still have to put in the cupboards and just do the final hookup on electrical and plumbing. He said he did not, he wanted it to go back to the board for approval given our current budget climate. So in doing that, I kind of took the liberty, and what I am presenting is that we adopt a $10,000 budget from the 535 Facility Improvement Fund. And if you look on your large sheet, you can see that in the past when those funds were being contributed to, we have $25,195.39 sitting in the Facility Improvement Fund that has yet to be utilized. This is an ask. We've already put a lot of legwork into the snack shack. It's, I'd say, 80% complete, ready to go. And because it is a potential revenue source, I thought it was important to try to finish it. But this needs to be a board decision, and whether you want me to expend any money out of that fund to finish it, or whether at this point we need to call the project a loss and I start using it for storage again. To date, most of the, we've paid for a little bit of material on the project. We have some money into the electricity on the project. But to date, I would say 95% of the project has been funded with donated labor. So this is whether we want to finish the project and we want to see it come to fruition and we're willing to put money behind the project, or whether we just cut our losses because we don't want to expend any additional funds at this time. And so this is pretty much just the ask. If you guys want to keep down that road with the snack shack, then I'm asking for $10,000 to be a budget adopted from the 535 Facility Improvement Fund, because I don't want to get to where we have the concrete done, it's $5,000, we might have a couple $1,000s into the cupboards. I want to make sure that if we're going to adopt this, that we can finish the project. It very well can come in a little bit under this amount, but I didn't want to oversell what we could do and not get it to the complete stage, because I think it's really important that if we want to see it to come fruition, that we need to push it forward. So this is just kind of a board decision. If you want, you can approve the budget adoption from the 535 fund to finalize the snack shack. There is a resolution and there is just a budget. It's very, very simple. Or if it's the board's decision to not approve the budget, then at that time, then I will make the adjustments out of our proposed budget before it comes back, do all the necessary adjusting that we need to out of that. And then at this point, we cut our losses where they're at.
So you're looking for an additional 10,000. Sorry, the number's gonna go back and forth pretty fast. What have we put into it so far?
So far, all of the labor has been donated. We have probably under $1,000 into it for sheetrock, for flooring. There's linoleum flooring. There's an AC in there. There's the plumbing in there. All the labor so far has been donated. There's a small amount that we've had to pay to get the sheetrock, the insulation, a new subfloor, linoleum. I want to say to date, it's under $1,200 worth of hard costs going into that.
So 10,000 finishes off.
So the snack shack was, sorry, Bob was just trying to give me direction from the table. The snack shack building was something that had been purchased when the pool first opened. So it was a true shack that we used for storage.
Like a Tough Shed?
Yeah, like the ones you see on Main Street, similar to that. So we, we moved it sideways, we installed a window, the window was under $200, I think. We installed linoleum, that was, I think, something I bought at Robbins, or Zangles, sorry, for $120. We had some new subfloor. So overall, the expenses, there's been zero labor charged for all of the construction going into that. I was the one that painted it. There's some electricity, so it's probably $1,200 in the actual what we purchased from the pool, the materials we provided, the paint, the everything else, and then the electrician came and wired it and put in a panel so we could plug in whatever we needed to plug in. So that's the next harder cost. So probably $1,200 in actual materials and $1,200 for the electrician to date.
So $10,000 puts in counters and cupboards and...
Counters, cupboards, and half of the $10,000 is concrete. We need to be able to make it so people can use it, and we're making sure that we're compliant and no one's going from a hard concrete surface to a gravel surface, and that all members of the pool can access it, whether they're in a wheelchair or not a wheelchair. We'd have to extend the concrete all the way up to the shack. So it's $5,000 for the concrete, but I wanted to make sure if I was bringing this resolution to the board and making the ask that if we were going to do it, we made sure we covered everything to finalize it. And that was if we had to buy a freezer or a fridge or any of the little, if we wanted to sell snow cones, or if we were going to be making sure we cover all of the cupboards and counters. So yeah, that's the final all-in Hail Mary cost.
That sounds reasonable. And for theaters and stuff, they make more money selling candy bars than they do actually.
And that's the hope. The hope is we recoup the costs from what we bring in through food sales and other sales at the pool. And then hopefully going into the future, it can be funds that support the pool and becoming more sustainable.
Anybody else? Tony?
Nope, good.
Ruby? No. Okay, anybody from the public want to comment on this? And Risa too, if we vote this down, your money that you projected in your budget for the snack shack and everything will be lost. So that will hurt our revenue source, correct?
Well, it's both. The revenue is a guesstimate, right? We have no idea. We have heard from other facilities that they bring in quite a bit of money selling snacks, and that's something that we should look at. There's also the cost of buying food. So, this year I was being, for my amount, I didn't want to over predict what we could bring in. So for this year, we were calling it kind of a wash, just to hopefully get it underfoot and going. in the actual budget, it was like a $4,000 increase just to buy food and to keep it stocked, and we were only projecting like another $1,000 increase. I do think it will be more than that, but it's a unknown number. So I didn't want to oversell something, but the hope is what we've learned from other facilities that they have done a really good job making money off of food sales.
Okay, so, I need a motion. Oh, okay. When I ask for public comment, you know, on each of the items, please come up during that time, all right?
Sorry for my delay. I did want to mention, Shelby Burton, that 2 years ago, there was volunteers that said that they would be able to set up a table and a pop-up and sell the snacks and stuff to bring in more revenue if the Snack Shack is not up and running. So that may be another viable revenue income for you guys. I could reach out to those volunteers again, or Ms. Rice could do that as well. But that is an option. The community was willing to come in and volunteer to sell snacks.
Awesome, thank you.
That's another question.
Yes.
Her comments raise an issue. Who's gonna staff the snack shop? Volunteers or paid employees?
So right now, we're anticipating that it would be employees. If we had a great volunteer basis that we could count on. My experience is a lot of times volunteers say they're gonna be there and then they're not. But I do have staff that I utilize. We have guards that come in on rotations. And so there's staff at the pool that can help with the sales, and then we probably have, for Public Swim, one dedicated employee in there just manning the cash register. And then instead of rotating into the office, because we do like a 15-minute rotation on desk, and then they're off for 15 minutes, they can rotate into the Snack Shack, wash hands, help make anything that they need to make, do that, and then they can rotate back off on deck. The Snack Shack, one of the things we did put into, anticipating that it's a warm environment, is a mini AC unit. And so the swim team utilized the Snack Shack last year. The Volcanoes did when they had the swim meet, and they were able to sling food out of it. If we had volunteers to do it, I have no problem running it with volunteers, absolutely not. It would just make sure that they're consistent. I don't want to rely on volunteers and then something come up and then not there, and then I didn't have the staff to run it for that day. So those are little nuances I think about as a pool manager, is just making sure that if we're open, we're consistent. The plan for the Snack Shack is just to run it during public swim hours, so it will be the 3 hours that we're open, 12:30 to 3:30 for our recreation swim, and then have it open for Team Tuesdays on Tuesdays in the evenings and Family Swim Fridays. So the true recreation times offered at the pool. And then I don't think we will be operating at any time outside of those, just because then you're getting into where it's probably not gonna make enough money to make it viable to keep it staffed.
I was more concerned about increased staff expenses.
Correct.
Thank you.
And to, or something that just popped into my head was, since it's the county and city, we're probably going to have a food handler.
So for the first year, I have spoken with the health department on that in anticipation. I did get a health book and looked into it. So for the first year, the idea is to do mostly prepackaged foods and talk to them about what we can sell and what we can't. There's a lot of the stuff, if you're staying in the prepackaged market, that you don't need that license for. And then there is the food handling license. But it's a relatively small output. We have very specific staff designated with that food handling services if we were going to go down the certificate and the license. But we did try to construct the Snack Shack in such a manner that we shouldn't have a problem if we wanted to bring it to the next level, getting approved by the county health department. That was always the goal in mind.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the 10,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the $10,000 from the 535 Facility Improvement Fund.
Okay, motion made by
Second.
Scanlon and seconded by Board Member Bordeaux. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we are going to 7E, Lassen Volcano Swim Team Agreement.
Okay, so presented for the board's review and adoption is the Lassen Volcano Swim Team Agreement. Changes in the agreement include updated language regarding the pool seasons, a slight reduction in fees during June and July to reflect the elimination of evening practice hours and Friday morning practice times due to swim meets. Language was added to accommodate a reduction in fees in the pool if the pool experiences a long-term closure. An invoice and payment section was added along with dispute resolution language. So the agreement is attached to the back of page 19, or after page 19 rather, it's on page 20. I commend the new Volcanoes president, Jessica Solomon, and I believe their communication officer, Elizabeth Creer, with really getting this done and meeting with me and going over the nuts and bolts of it, and kind of, I know Elizabeth helped spearhead this. So in years past or on the previous agreement, the swim team was utilizing the pool for roughly an hour, a little more than an hour, a couple nights in the evenings. And this was mainly due because they didn't have practices on Friday. Most of their swim meets are on a Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule. They're 2 or 3 day meets. And so they were wanting to replace those hours in the evening, and it was a little bit of a burden for the pool, but I understood the need. The swim team last year was playing, I think, a little over. Their 3-year contract had a increase each year in it. So last year they had topped out at I think it was $3,172 or something very similar to that. And then we really want to make it we want to make sure that the kids on the Volcano swim team can get in the water and that they're able to continue to afford utilizing the pool. So kind of in exchange for those evening hours, we didn't increase the costs at the facility because that helps us reduce the costs for staff and everything else. Then what we did is we just leveled so that for the full months of June, they're paying $3,000. For the full months of July, they're paying the $3,000. For the May use, it's with a max amount of $750 a week, trying to capture at least that $1,500. And then there's a separate charge for the swim meet that's included in this, and that overall $9,500 worth of revenues. So I think the Volcanoes did great due diligence in making sure this honored the pool staff, and also where that they made sure that their members could still afford to get into the water, and we weren't increasing costs to them. So it's not a huge difference. It's kind of very similar to what we brought in from last year, but like I said, we don't want to push the increase of revenues so much that they struggle to stay in the water, because we do want to see the kids swim. And so this is it was kind of a push for going into the future, and this is where we are, because I do think they're doing their due diligence and trying to cover the costs and help the facility as much as they can.
Any questions up there? No? Anybody from the public? Are you sure?
Positive.
Nobody else from the public? Okay. Come on.
I'll have to give a limp up there. Why, when we started the pool and got in the water years ago, we started the swim team in March. Then we delayed it till April, and it was late March, the very first one, I think. Risa can correct me if I'm wrong. And then it went to April, and now we're at May. It's all because of lack of revenue and the cost. Is that why? Just want an answer as to why.
Okay. Yes.
One last question.
Yes.
It's got the terms of, termination in here on page 23, but is there language regarding modifying the contract? Say, by some miracle, the city and the county decide to kick in the money, the additional money.
So this agreement, just for clarification purpose, is for the USA Swim Club that swims in the seasons of May through July. Mid-May, they enter about the pool, or whenever we're open for them to open. They kind of base their start schedule based off of the pool start schedule. And so there is a Lassen Volcanoes USA Swim Club available to all members of the county to come in and partake in and be part of a swim team. The swim team that was being referenced for the fall season is specific to the Lassen High School swim team. So this is separate from that.
I didn't see that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the agreement between Lassen Volcano Swim Team and us.
I'll make a motion. You go ahead. I heard you, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
Okay,
That's like
motion made by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Stone. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Under 7F, general update. Lisa?
So this is me again. A general pool update will be provided regarding the language that I changed on this says present and past operations. I think I'll start with past operations just because I kept hearing the rhetoric come up in previous meeting. I heard the rhetoric come up in this meeting, and so anticipating it coming up again, I had come prepared and wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that we have done as far as grants go for the facility. So I have before me all of the grants that we have looked into, or quite a few of them, provided by community member Burton that she's referenced before, as far as I believe this one looks like it was a grant provided for life jackets and possibly swim lessons. I had researched it on 11/30 of 2023 when it was provided to us. I looked into the grant after dues and memberships was paid to become part of this one was for the AOAP, the Association of Aquatic Professionals. We'd have to pay $125 for the membership dues. Those were not cost effective. We also have to be a nonprofit as stated on the highlighted portions of this grant. And unfortunately, we did not qualify. It was a max grant for $500 for $500 per organization, and the eligibility requirements, as you can see highlighted, says you must be a nonprofit organization to receive life jackets or swim lesson grants. We are not a nonprofit organization. The next grant that was provided from the community funding source we had made notes on. I did research this on 12/1/25. This was sent to us November 14th of 2023. My notes were, I researched this grant over the course of roughly 2 days. We had received it when I was on vacation. The big note was this for becoming part of the USA Swim Community Grant, the swim lessons we heard referenced earlier. One of the big things is our general aggregate insurance needed to be $3 million. It is currently $1 million. In order to come up with the cost of the other $2 million, it would have probably not been worth it. I do have the certificate of insurance showing what ours currently was. We did look into this grant and it was not viable. There also was, in connection, a whole outline of USA Swim. We'd have to become a USA Swim club. Essentially, the lessons would have to be tied into the USA Swimming. We'd have to pay into that. It's kind of like a Red Cross organization. So we would have to pay for the instructors to be USA Swim Club instructors to go along with this. The max amount award is based off of how many children that can be access to swim lessons. Although we give a ton of swim lessons in this community, it is on their lowest end, which is about 500. And so it puts us very low down on the tier of actually accessing these funds. So I did not want to move forward, have to get $2 million worth more of insurance to be able to provide swim lessons when we do a pretty good job of already selling those on our own. Through Superior Recreation and Recreonics, they send out annually a 100+ page guide of statewide and federalized grants. I have downloaded and reviewed every single grant in those 100 pages. Most of them, my notes on this when I wrote them last was any possible grant we qualified for that wasn't area specific. We investigated. Most of them were nonprofit status. We didn't qualify. They were also specific to certain geographic areas and more towards a urban setting and not a rural setting. So that was probably over 600 grants in those 100 pages that I personally have looked at, one by one by one by one, and there wasn't one that we could apply for. The next set of grants that I have was the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant. This would be an amazing grant. It's been sent to me several times. Each time it becomes available, I look into it. The big one for this grant, as highlighted, is that it is a reimbursement program. Rather, the sponsor is reimbursed up to 50% of the actual project cost. So they'll throw in 50, we throw in 50, we have to have it all sitting in the bank. Per our bank funds right now, we're projected to have $1,600. I'm not sure that that will get us very far down the road. The next grant that we have looked into, this one's another one that comes up as part of the Ogles grant. This is a high dollar grant that I would love to be able to tap into at one point in time. This one I had received a couple different times. The big one with this was the criteria of the grant. It wants us to be an outdoor recreation, which we are, but it wants us to provide natural area trips. We have to have internship opportunities for staffing, for the kids coming up. So this is more like a nature type thing. I had provided and looked into this, and I believe I said on these notes, made on 11/30, called and forward to Gwen Corey, who runs Rails to Trails Nature Camp, spoke to see of a possible partnership because about half of this grant criteria, the pool itself could not fulfill. And so as far as grants go, I just want to make sure that we put out there that we look actively for grants. Any grants that the community brings to me, I research and do the legwork on. So if it has been mentioned that we've brought you a grant, I want the community and the board to recognize and know that it has been diligently looked into. at this point in time. So that kind of covers some of the past stuff. Also, as we spoke about before, we've added evening swim lessons to bring in increased costs. We've doubled water baby classes to bring increased costs. We've added things like Teen Tuesdays onto the board and Family Fridays. As mentioned before, we did attempt to do a Serene Saturday. It wasn't on the schedule this year because of low attendance, and there just wasn't a lot of people. It wasn't a program that was covering the cost of the lifeguard to be there for an hour. It wasn't covering that cost. So unfortunately, although it was one of the programs that was near and dear to my heart, it was also a program that didn't make the schedule this year. I would love if we have sponsorships. If someone wanted to sponsor, Serene Saturdays, it's absolutely something that can be put back onto the schedule. We had, last year, 11 hard sponsorships, I think with the 12th one being Johnsonville School. They had provided, 72 5-day punch cards to their children. They had also provided several swim lessons, I think over 50 swim lessons to their children. This year we're up to date on 7 sponsorships. So that kind of encompasses some of the past that really, I want to make sure that I express that I diligently look on ways actively all the time to come up with more funding, more revenues, changing the program, adding program, taking program out, reaching to the community for sponsorships. No, it shouldn't be fully funded based off of the community, but every little bit helps. And we always try to tap into any resource that we have available to us. As far as our present updates, we did pass our health inspection last Friday at 3:30 p.m. So we are currently in operations. Monday was our very first day. Everything went smoothly, great, lots of people. A long day at the facility. I was down there for, I think, roughly 14 hours yesterday, encompassing a 5 a.m. to a 5 p.m. schedule, and then went back for a couple hours in the evening to shut down the till and drawer that the staff had struggled with. We are looking for sponsorships right now. Anyone who would like to sponsor is more than welcome to sponsor a program. We have been going out to the community, we've beat the pavement, we've reached out to the businesses that we can, and that is actively going on. We have, I'm not sure if a lot of people, I know a lot of people said we weren't getting the notifications last year. Last year, the pool's Facebook page was unfortunately hacked. I think most of the board up here realizes that, but maybe not all. So we had lost both my personal Facebook page that was tied to that and the pool's Facebook page. One of the amazing things that we have is Marshall and Jeremy Cuso, who have been a great, amazing support system for the pool and in their Susanville stuff and in their morning news. And so they've been really, really helpful in promoting the pool, all of the positive, amazing things. We do this throughout the day and throughout the community. And then Marshall has graciously offered to restart the pool Facebook page, so you can go find Honey Lake Valley Community Pool on the Facebooks now. And Marshall Cuso is running that for us. She had a higher level of where she wouldn't be hacked, so to speak, because she had to turn in paperwork for elections because she ran election campaign pages through that. And so we have our Facebook page up and running. We have our Honey Lake Pool website up and running. So we have all of those things. If you're questioning about what programs are in the water, I just direct everyone to go to the honeylakepool.com Facebook page. We have water walking, we have the Volcano swim team in there right now. We're currently offering private lessons right now. We have the aqua aerobics several times a week. We had Westwood School in the pool today, and so we're running the races and we're doing amazing things within the community. And I just wanted to highlight all the positives that the pool does offer and bring to the pool, to the community, because everyone in here is right. It's amazing, and I want to see it going, and I'm only involved because it's on my heart to be involved and make sure that everyone has access to the facility. So those are my pool updates, and that's all I have.
Reese, do we still have the banner program going?
All of the banners are up. That's part of our sponsorships, yes. So we did get those hung this morning with the ones that we had available to us, and we have about 2 more that need to be printed currently, and I'm hoping to get lots more in. So,
Thank you for running down all those grants. Based on a couple emails that I got, I started looking at just a couple of them, and to know that you've gone through all of them is very commendable. Thank you so much for doing that.
Anybody else? Any general comments? Nothing? All right, well, my last comment is, you know, the pool, you know, I've been in favor of the pool forever, before I even got on the pool. You know, I used to go, and everybody that's been here for a while has heard this story over and over again, but, you know, that was part of my summer program, was I went to the park, and we had park and recreation here, and then I went to the pool, and I'm able to swim, and, you know, because of the pool and everything, and, I mean, it breaks my heart that, you know, that we're at this point and situation, but, you know, the reality of it is, you know, we have to have the funds to operate it. You know, there's nothing more important to me than kids. You know, I've served on all kinds of kid organizations, and the kids are, you know, they're the most important asset that this community has. But, you know, we just, we're doing the best we can with the money that we have, and until, you know, there's some way that we can generate more money, we have to make the tough choices. And so, with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.